So in this video, we're briefly going to go over the modify tools. So you can get to the modify tools in a couple ways. One being up here in your modify tab, select modify, and right here we have a bunch of them. Second thing is, for example, if you're choosing wall, you're also going to see your modify tools here. So what we're going to do is have a couple examples here. So we're going to go to modify, and the first one is called align. So basically you can align one element to another. The key thing here is when you're doing it, for example, I'm going to align this desk here to the top of this wall. You first face you want to choose is the one that's going to be stationary. So for example, the desk will be moving, so that's going to be the second item I click on. So I'm going to select the top of the wall here in blue, and then I'm going to go down to my desk, select the top, and you're just going to see that's going to shift the desk up so that way they're perfectly aligned. In order to exit out, just hit escape and it will end that task. So next one is offset. So basically, just like in AutoCAD, offset is going to add an additional item or wall, whatever it may be, line. In this case, there's like graphical, numerical. You're just going to do numerical, offset value. You can change here, and yes, of course, you want to copy. So in this case, if you move your mouse to the top of the wall or to the bottom of the wall, is going to create a duplicate for you that specific distance away. Next we have move. Of course, with move you select the item, right click, and then finish selection, and then you just use your tool, your cursor, to select wherever it is you want to move from. So maybe you want to move from bottom right to here. You just click move and then click again, just like in AutoCAD. Copy works the same way. You either select your item first, then copy, or you can select copy, then go down to the item, left click, right click, say finish selection. And then from here we have like constrain move direction, you have disjoint, you have multiple. So in this case, if you plan on creating multiple copies, make sure that multiple is checked. So that way when you click, you can continue. Wherever you click, it's going to place a new item. Mirror. So for example, if you wanted to mirror this desk over this particular wall, you can just select the desk, go up here to mirror, then select the line or face or whatever it may be that is mirroring across. So in this case, it's the center of the wall. Click, and there it is. Of course, there's a problem because it's in that wall, but it'll be okay for right now. Your rotate tool, just like in AutoCAD, you select the item, right click, select finish selection. You'll see this line appear. So basically this is your reference point in which you are starting the rotation. So in this case, let's say from 0 degrees here, so make sure it's not 0, and then I can start dragging it. You're going to see this blue number appear. That of course is the angle. So if you want, you could specifically type in a distance, or you can just move it to whatever it is that you want. So in this case, let's just say 45, click, and there it is. Okay. Up next, here we have trim/extend. So when we select this, if you wanted to extend an item, so let's say this wall and this wall I wanted to touch, okay? Instead of going through and manually dragging these walls so they touch, you can just use this button here. Select the one wall, go down to the second one, and you're going to see there's this like dotted blue line. That's just showing you where they're going to attach. So if you click again, it is now going to attach those two walls together. Up here, our next button is called split element, and basically in this case you're just splitting something. So in most cases you're going to use this for a wall. So let's say this wall is way too long, I need it into 2. I select split, and then like this little X-Acto knife looking symbol appears. You just go to wherever it is you want to split it, left click, you're going to see this little blue line appear. Just hit escape, and now your wall is in 2 pieces. Directly to the right of that we have split with gap. It works the same way, but you're going to click twice and you're going to basically create 3 walls. So for example, in this first section here, let's say I wanted a small gap here. I'm going to left click first, left click again, and now I have this small section of wall that I could delete if I wanted to. Here, let's go down here, so trim extend. So in this case, when you're trimming, the first one you want to select is the line that's basically the cut line. So in this case, if I wanted to get rid of this section here, I'm going to first select my cut line, and then it's kind of interesting, but you choose the side of the line that you want to keep. So I want to keep this side, so I'm going to click on here, and then it will trim out that section of the wall. The button directly beside it here, it says trim extend multiple. That's if you're trying to trim multiple things at the same time. This one is for single element if you're only doing one. Here we have scale. In most cases you're not really going to need that, so I'm not really going to go through it. Array, quite possibly you will use this. So in this case, when you select array, you'll choose the item that you want to do, and then I'll finish selection. And then from here you have two options. You have linear and radial. So if you're doing something that's going in a circle, you're going to choose radial. If you have something that's going vertically, horizontal, you're going to choose linear. So I'm just going to keep linear selected. Number, let's say I'm going to do 4. And then here it says like move to second, last, and then constrain. In this case, if you were to select last, what would end up happening is you're going to click point A. And then if you want to click point B, let's say over here, is going to fill in those 4 within that space evenly if you chose last. In this case, if second is selected, let's say I choose the bottom left and then go, let's say 8 feet and click, it is going to keep that 8-foot gap between all of them, and it's going to create 4. Here, let me do this real quick. I'm going to copy this down just to show you the difference. So I'm going to select this one. I want to use my array, and then I'm going to choose last with a number 4, linear, and then I'm going to choose the center, kind of straight across, let's say to here, click, and what it does is when you choose last, it's going to split up the distance between that whatever the gap is that you created. And then one nice thing about linear arrays is if you select it, you can see here it brings up the number. You can go ahead and change that. So let's say maybe you wanted 6. Now it adds 6. If you choose this one and change it to 6, it doesn't expand the distance. So when you're doing an array and you're doing the second, so basically you determine the distance between A and B, if you change that number, it's going to keep adding on. If you do the option that said last and you determine point A and then the very last point B, is going to only fill in that space. So when you do an array, you kind of have to be careful. What is the purpose of the array, and will you be expanding it to the side, up, down, or are you just trying to increase the number within a certain amount of space? And then the very last 2 or 3 that we need to talk about is unpin, pin, and delete. Of course, delete is if you select something, you click the X and it goes away. The pin is if there's something that you don't want to move, like you want it to be concrete, stuck there. For example, let's say this wall here. I can select that wall, choose pin, and no matter what I try to do, like I'm clicking on it, I'm trying to move it, nothing's happening because it is pinned. Okay. In order to just unpin it, you just select it. You could either click on the pin there or come up here and unpin. And now I can move it again.